Several key stakeholders, including representatives from the Department of Transport, people living with disabilities, taxi associations, and representatives of transport SOEs, amongst others, gathered under one roof to deliberate, identify challenges, and find solutions to universal access to all types of transportation, including aviation, maritime, road, rail, and public transport. Those living with disabilities have said summits like this must not be a talk shop.
At the moment, there is compliance. However, we have to report that it is slow, and we are trying our level best to now motivate and advocate to be more inclusive and ensure that we have accessibility across the board in all areas.
What I would really like to come out of this is some sort of mechanism that will enforce the current legislation. And for example, public transport, like the minibus taxis, the drivers, there are very few drivers that have compassion for persons with disabilities.
Government says it will continue to respond to the challenges people with disabilities face. To date, the revised white paper on the National Transport Policy, which was published 3 years ago, commits to a number of implementation strategies. The Presidential Working Group has also been working towards coordinating initiatives to integrate different modes of transport for the disabled.
The Department of Transport has gazetted a national policy for parking discs that will enable drivers with disabilities to use them in one part of the country and everywhere in South Africa. That, I think, will be very good.
Meanwhile, an example of what is possible is evident at Gautrain, along with their plans to improve accessibility.
The next level that we're looking at going into is what we call mobility on demand. It's the ability for somebody who's living with disability to be able to request a specific service, and that service will come and pick them up from their house with a trained driver who will know how to handle any form of situation. Somebody walking with crutches, somebody on a wheelchair, the different types of challenges, somebody who's blind. And that in itself is the next level of service that we are introducing into the system as a whole. It will form part of what we call the How Express.
Natasha Piri, SABC News, Johannesburg.